You see, when you look at the plastic camera filter, you get a certain gloominess in tone, and you understand that whatever is being seen before you is somewhat grey and miserable. That's exactly how this movie makes me feel. Today, obviously, if you read the title, we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about Cuck, the 2019 masterpiece from what's his name, writer director Rob Lambert and some other guy whose name I forget. So obviously I watched this movie based on the title alone, and it's safe to say that I felt viciously cucked while watching it. This movie is so boring, with sprinkles of laugh out loud badness and very few genuine things done right, that it makes me slightly sad Taxi Driver is a thing, because apparently Ronnie is the 2019 Travis Bickle, which I failed to see, other than he's like a depressed guy who gets a gun and kills some people at the end, and very blatantly, like, gets out a gun, is like aiming it around the room, he's talking to himself, he's doing all this shit. Like, he's kind of a caricature in a lot of ways. To say that this guy is like a three-dimensional character, like as the director says he is, and not the one-note bad guy he says he isn't, is laughable, to say the least. And unsurprisingly, Zachary Ray Sherman, who did win the Seymour Castle Award, wasn't very good. He didn't do the worst job, but his performance was really strange. He kind of just just kind of glanced ahead, you know? And he read his lines with very little to just no emotion at all. He did like this really comical, very childish thing. Like he'd get up and he'd just be like just waving his fucking arms around and shit. And like, I would be lying if I said that I didn't sometimes act like this in the comfort of my own solitude, but like actually seeing it before me is just embarrassing. It's fucking humiliating. It makes me ashamed to get pissed off in like my own privacy. Like, Ronnie is like, he's unlikable, and there's like really no actual insight on him or his character. His mother, who I cannot fucking stand, by the way, but we'll get to that later, is a bit of a nag. He doesn't have a job. He can't get into the military. He's a bit of an incel, intolerant racist who can't get sex. I mean the meaningful relationship that he truly desires. You know, not just not lovemaking. Like, that's not something he just wants. You know, he's a very multi-dimensional man. The biggest problem with Ronnie is that we really just don't know what his fucking deal is. Like, I think he's supposed to be mentally ill and easily influenced or something, but there's like no downward spiral he goes on. Like, some people are like just like a bit rude to him. There was one moment where I actually thought to myself, okay, that lady didn't have to be so rude. I do feel bad for this character. You know, he's just like, hey, what kind of music are you listening to? It's just a little bus stop band. He's just like, fuck off, you know? Then it kind of immediately ruins that by making him look pathetic. At first he walks away. You know, it's fine. He's sad. We feel bad for him. Just whatever. But then he just comes back over and he's like, you don't have to be such a fucking bitch. And it's just like, just why? He also goes on like a laughably bad date with someone where he offends the girl with his use of the word pussy, and he like fucking grabs her when she tries to leave because he paid for her coffee. It's so stupid. Like, it doesn't actually like start off with him like being like charismatic and like swaying her and being a cool guy. Like, it starts off with him just fucking it up. Like, he's kind of a creepy pervert, to be honest. Not just in that scene, but he just stares at like women's legs and shit, and he looks up MILF doggy on XXX porn sites. Like, it's impossible to take that seriously. Okay, a man's porn is his own, but like, seriously? MILF doggy? Like, your audience is just gonna sit there just like, what are you doing? It's just, like, we see him masturbate like 100 times, and it's just gross. Also, it's a small detail, but he never actually came for some reason. Like, he just finished jerking off and he just walk away, and he just I don't know, he won't suffer like the shame and embarrassment that comes with the male orgasm. He just pulls his trousers up like, yep, no big deal. I am stained. Did you have a vasectomy, my man? That is my question for you. He's just a racist idiot who believes all these fucking extreme right-wing beliefs. Like, there's no actual progression. He just okay, so he watches some videos. He uploads some videos of him just chatting the truth. Like, there's this one video he uploads straight after his terrible date, talking about how, like, women do this, and it's so fucking sad and just pathetic. And he finishes the video, and he's like, fucking bitch. What is uploading this shit gonna do other than just get you bullied? It's dumb and it's forced and it's just annoying. I'm pretty sure the type of videos he makes won't be on trending, but in terms of them not being very well received, they were kind of right about that, I guess. The mother character, who I mentioned briefly earlier, was unbearable, and the woman playing her was fucking annoying. The whole time Ronnie was being annoyed by her and being snitched on to his former probation officer, who's just called a probation and not a probation officer, I couldn't help but wonder, maybe she's being like this because she's old and fucking dying. Like, don't get me wrong, she was annoying, but at the same time, like, there is at least some reason to it. And even then, what the fuck is her problem? Like, what did this overweight, disturbed loner who can't even hit targets actually do to get a probation officer? Sorry, I mean a probation. Seriously though, like, his fucking aim with that Magnum was awful, but we'll get to that later. His real problem is that he's just a racist incel. He just hates people for being different, and he thinks women should be completely submissive. The use of the word cuck was also pretty funny and not serious at all. Everything in the movie, from people to stuff on the internet, like, it was just another reason for Ronnie to just get pissed off for silly reasons. It was just so cheesy and lame, and it kind of got repetitive after a very short amount of time. He had like a best friend character, you know, as if he himself wasn't kind of caricature-y enough, who was barely in the movie, and I actually forgot that he was there by the time he conveniently picked Ronnie up from prison for fraud, like something he just got bailed out on randomly. It was really dumb. His friend gave him a half-decent piece of advice about, like, just being yourself, but then he ruined it by saying, like, it would help him drown in pussy. You know, the most fucking just Alabamian shit you could possibly say. Good job saying that to your friend with mental problems who clearly has some kind of bias against women and thinks they need a man. You know, women, they need a man. You know, Ronnie, you really spin me around. You got me thinking like you do. You know, I completely submit to everything you're saying. The depiction of social media was just annoying. YouTube was VlogTube, which gave me some Vietnam flashbacks to Vlog Dad Greg Paul. And Reddit was Read It. Like, it wasn't even with 2 Ds, it was just Read It, but like someone forgot the space, so it's just like a badly designed website. It was really annoying. Also, like, first they had like a porn site, but then Ronnie would just watch some topless gun-wielding maniac lady just shooting shit in her backyard. That would either be age restricted or just straight up removed, similar to Ronnie's videos that would just be flagged for hate speech. Like, he would not be there for a very long time. The type of videos he makes would probably not get that much attention, especially from some like alt-right winger named Chance Dalmain, I think his name was, who probably gets thousands of messages from thousands of people identical to Ronnie with identical beliefs, and like, he just happens to notice this really shitty camera quality. It's fucking rich coming from me. Like, really shitty camera quality videos of literally just fucking incel hate speech, and he just meets up with him and then like brands him a cuck and a stalker, despite being the one who messaged him on his fucking flip phone. Ronnie owning a fucking flip phone. Nope, not an iPhone 4, not a Nokia brick, but a fucking flip phone. Like, I know this kind of, like, slightly unrealistic stuff with, like, him meeting his idol and shit, gets, like, a pass for movies like Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy because, you know, like, they're not real. But this movie's confusing tone implied it was trying to somewhat be grounded in reality of, like, the modern age of technology, you know? Like, it was trying to say stuff about this and that and how people are influenced and shit. It just didn't make that much sense, I guess. The sexual content in this movie was also really jarring. Not only is this film not shot very well and looks kind of dull and lifeless, but it bordered the line of pornography. Like, Candy just, like, pretty much just has sex with everyone in the film, and Ronnie becomes, like, a literal cuck who gets a load blowed all over him by a big black guy. It was just kind of cringy and I guess a little bit funny. Yeah, that's not what you were going for, but you got some kind of reaction out of me, I guess. They do this thing where they make you think Candy is, like, into Ronnie and he can get her out of here and they can be together instead of being with her husband Bill, who she seems to have no problem being an online self-made porn star with. Of course, it's revealed they just manipulated and used this little asshole, and they even extorted some money off of him when Candy makes love to Ronnie while on crystal meth, and Bill threatened to, like, you know, beat the shit out of him unless he paid him, because the deal is that she gets paid if the job is done. And Ronnie, like, when he finds out all this stuff, he actually, like, tries to get, like, you know, love off of her for free, and he gets punched like a little bitch while his dumbass gets exposed as a cuck on this trending hate speech video when someone links the porn site with him all over it as being credited as, like, the dumbass husband. Oof, my friend. Oof. Then of course he just goes back and he kills them, and there's this is where I roast his pretty epic failure as a psychopathic gunner. I think he killed 2 people up close and injured 1 with the gun, but then he just comically strangled his mother with her own silky scarf. What? What are you doing? I think it was trying to be shocking, but it just came across as kind of silly. Like, oh my god, that last sequence was so lame. Especially the way he just ran around just shooting at random people and didn't even kill anyone. He's also a fucking moron who shouts at his Iranian boss and a bunch of black people just because they're different. Then he just kind of spares Abbas's, I think the boss's name is Abbas, I think, Abbas's life, because when he was a baby, it's revealed in, like, a little flashback artsy-fartsy sequence that his dad shot himself, and I guess seeing Abbas in the arms of his son Riza, I think his name was just too much to bear for Ronnie. So I guess the movie is trying to say that he was dropped on his head as a baby because the dad shot himself while the son was on his lap, and then the baby just plays with the Desert Eagle, which is the same gun that he actually wanted to buy from a pawn shop, a PAWN shop, in an earlier scene. What a fucking payoff to such a subtle setup. Nicely done, I guess. The score wasn't bad, but, like, it really mismatched the tone that this movie was clearly going for. It was, like, really electrical and trying to be cool, but not just, like, it didn't work. Like, it really just did not work. There were, like, 2 scenes where it was effective and utilized properly. The climactic ending that showed us Ronnie's goofy fucking corpse face and the 3 people he killed was just comical. It even did that really annoying thing Joker did, where it just flashes us information instead of leaving us to, like, figure out for ourselves. And much like Joker, it also had to do with the love interest we don't even really care about. The film was really unclear about what it was trying to do. Like, was it showing everything wrong with right-wingers and left-wingers? Ronnie and the other extremists in this movie do have beliefs I personally don't agree with, but then at the same time, the people that Ronnie offends, you know, besides the grocery store guys who are actually really cool, is they're all equally violent and extreme sometimes. Like, almost everyone in this film it focuses on is just so annoying. It appeases nobody and it just offends everybody, essentially. Left-wingers and most reasonable people will be offended, right-wingers will be offended by their depiction, people without a direct political ideology will be offended by it. It does one or two things I kind of like, such as some interesting shots and previously mentioned use of the mostly unfitting music. It does have one or two likable characters in the probation and the two grocery store guys, but beyond that it's mostly just a waste of time. Overall, Cuck is one of the most joyless and miserable experiences I've gotten out of a movie. Making movies isn't easy, and I really hope the people involved do get a second shot, because they clearly had a semi-interesting idea they wanted to explore. Oddly enough, the whole literal just getting cucked subplot with the lady who he has the hots for, I saw an interesting story where a guy falls in love with someone who is in a highly unconventional, somewhat healthy relationship that earns a lot of money through paid sex, and he gets screwed over by his emotions and becomes like insane because of it, ultimately killing her and her lover. It was more interesting than the stuff they focused on, but then again, it was only interesting to think about how they could have done it a million times better, and maybe just completely changed the film and just made it something interesting. Like, you could actually get something out of that, what I just said. That whole, like, focusing, and you actually could have made the, like I said, what's basically porn in, like, a movie work, instead of just being there. You could get something from it. This movie could actually inspire something good out of fellow filmmakers. I hope it does. I hope it does do something beyond just being annoying. I'd almost recommend it based on its lack of quality alone. I'd sooner recommend it over something forgettable like Frozen 2 or Men in Black International. Even if it is technically worse, it's more interesting to think and talk about. I'm going to give Cuck a 2 out of 10. I guess this, in a lot of ways, was it should have pleased some people. This was the incel movie that everyone thought Joker was going to be, and for that, I guess it kind of did its job. So yeah.